Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Oh boy, I'm sick, so we're gonna do this like this today.
Which is hilarious because it's not like we don't live together.
No, I know, but like it's better than tempting fate. Not
I
that I
get it.
have COVID or anything. It's just a cold,
No,
but it
but
still sucks.
I appreciate you not wanting me to have you not wanting me to have a cold.
Yeah, and I want you to have to like sit here next to me while I'm like below my nose and stuff. Plus, it allows me to mute myself if I need to blow my nose or
Oh,
whatever.
that's actually very true. That's very
Right?
true.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I get to be
excited.
home. I love that.
Yeah, it's the best place in the world. But not like literally where we live, just the idea of home.
Yeah.
Home itself is great. If somebody wanted to give us a bigger, greater home, that would be better. It would still be better than the home we have, but it's still pretty great.
The house, not the home.
State of
the
mind.
home we have is lovely.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. But so we're talking about the latest news and comic book reviews that are happening this past week. We're going to recap, review some comics that came out over the last week and tell you what we thought about them. And then we're going to pick out our book of the week. And we're going to read your super chats, which of course are the sponsors for today's show. If you want to sponsor today's show, you can use so by using super chats. Ask a question or comment. We're going to hear on the show, and it'll be part of the show forever, which we will alternate, I believe.
Yeah, we will. We're absolutely going to do that.
Yep. We also have a special guest lined up that will be joining us in a matter of minutes, probably like 20 minutes or so.
Ooh.
And that will be Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees creator Patrick Horvath.
Oh, nice. Nice. I don't know if anybody else notices this, but behind you, there's like a shadow created by Wolverine and other things. It kind of looks like a mask on its side. Like it's a little ominous, and I kind of love it. It makes me think of so many things. Like it makes me think of Lethal Company. It makes me think of, I don't know, Loki for some reason. Just all kinds of things.
It's pretty cool. I just like the fact that it casts a shadow of like
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
A shadow of Wolverine and other things
looming over us. It's pretty great. But yeah, so Patrick's going to join us. We're going to tease his upcoming sequel to Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees from IDW. And let me tell you, I got a chance to read the first issue, and well, we'll get into it when he arrives.
Nice.
But stay tuned for that, because I remember when we were teasing that book when it first came out. And people were like, what is this? This looks cool. And then it became a critical darling. And,
it really hit. It really hit.
It hit, yeah.
Good on IDW for like, picking this up and like being like, let's do it.
Yeah, taking some risks, trying some new stuff out. This was a good risk to take.
What's funny is I don't really think people immediately, when thinking of horror, think of IDW. But if you're looking at their library and their upcoming library, I think it's something that like horror fans should definitely be keeping an eye out for. Is what they're coming out with. Because honestly, they're the ones who came out with like that whole like Scott-tober thing, right? With like, well, it wasn't Scott-tober, but you know what I mean? Like,
that was Comixology, but this was Scott's big Dark Spaces line.
I know, but like anytime Scott does a whole bunch of horror things, I'm going to call it Scott-tober, because obviously October is the spooky month. But they're the ones who came out with like Dark Spaces Dungeon, which is a phenomenal horror story, even if it's not like supernatural horror. So it's like I feel like they're like a quiet force in the horror world. So
yes, but not a Dark Horse, because that would be a completely different company.
Is there any news?
There is a little bit of news, but it's more debunking, because I had heard some relatively exciting news. I'd heard that, like, unfortunately, Matt Reeves was not doing great, and he might have to drop out of the Batman sequel. But nope, that's not true. That's all.
Okay. Hooray!
In fact, what's his name? James Gunn actually commented on it on social media, and he was like, "What? No,
that's not a thing."
Yeah.
And that's not correct.
Exactly. But so
he's a bot.
Right? He also mentioned that just to reiterate in that regard, they do not have plans to integrate Matt Reeves / Robert Pattinson's Batman into the DC universe. So still not gonna do that. Which
does that mean that like they have like a secret Batman plan, or they have no Batman plan and they're just gonna let it ride and just see what we get and not think too far ahead just yet?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're gonna roll out with a Superman movie that stars Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Metamorpho, you may want to have a Batman in the wings, just in case.
In the wings.
Oh. But yeah, man, I look forward to seeing this movie in 2036 when it comes out. But in the meantime, we'll get like all kinds of TV show spinoffs to celebrate Batman not being in these things. It's awesome. I believe they're shooting at the end of the year, but at least that's the hope. But
Okay.
I also believe there's no script, so who the hell knows?
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, any news on your end? Oh, there was a little bit of speculation about the fact that like now that Diamond has been kind of purchased by the second purchaser, there may never be another free comic book day again. Diamond runs it and owns it.
Oh my God.
Since they no longer publish Boom, DC, or distribute DC, Boom, all these other things. That, I mean, who would be involved?
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh my God. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
I guess that's why the pickings were kind of slim this year for Free Comic Book Day.
Right. Although I will say there were some good offerings that we
Yes.
saw. IDW had a fun little sampler that showed you what the dark line was going to be like.
Yes, they had and the Godzilla sampler too.
Yep, that's right. DC had a good one where it was like a flip book. You know, it showed you what to expect from Dan Slott's Superman, and also here's something from what to expect for the all-in event, I guess you could call it. It was a legitimate shocker. I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Okay.
There was a crossover.
Fun.
There's an absolute crossover in that book. If you missed it,
wait, like an absolute crossover or an absolute crossover?
Capital A crossover with the DC universe and the absolute DC universe.
Oh.
In that book.
I didn't look at it. Where is it? Is it in the house?
It is not. It's over here. Oh. But it's one of those flip books like the DC All-In Special.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are difficult to produce, I understand.
They are indeed. Well, they're especially difficult to coordinate, as I understand it as well. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, let's talk about some comic books that came out the past week that we thought were exciting. Do you have anything on your docket that you want to jump into right away?
I don't know. I feel like you probably read more than me.
Yeah, I did. Probably.
I had like 5 books.
That's fair. Yeah, I have like 5, maybe less.
Okay. Wow.
I know. I read Black Canary, Best of the Best.
Okay.
It ended. It's over. This is Tom King, Ryan Sook. This is the finale of
How
this.
was it?
It was great. It was phenomenal. It was beautiful. It was sad and triumphant and exciting. This is a great series, 6 issues. It's probably all on the shelf at your local comic book store. Pick it up if you haven't already. If you like DC books, if you like Tom King at all, you'll like this. If you enjoy Black Canary and want to see her get her justice, you will in this book.
Okay.
A lot of really good stuff in this particular issue and across the board with the series. This is a quiet book. No one talked about it. If they make a movie out of it, then it'll be, hardcover and people will pick it up. But like otherwise, I don't see this book getting any accolades, recognition, or discussion outside of it existing. I mean, it's Black Canary.
Yeah,
not.
But that's so weird because like she is seemingly such a like well-known character. Like at least like physically when you see her, it's just like, oh, that's Black Canary, and she's a lot of like associations and such, and it's not a surprise when she'll randomly show up either to like help the heroes out in like a team-based thing or like to save the day for like a quick second or before it being taken off the table. So that's strange that like people wouldn't be more interested in being like, oh, you know what, I don't know anything about her. Admittedly, I'm one of those people who was just like, I yeah, sure, she's great, she's fun, whatever, and I did not read one panel, so I apologize.
No. I think you'll like it now that it's over.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy picking it up.
Okay.
It is a sad book, or at least it's an emotional book. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, it's Tom, so.
Well, exactly. It's going to be in some way somber.
Yes.
As you can imagine. By the way, if you haven't already seen it, Tom came by the show or this channel.
Yeah.
We did a whole video with him. Scott Snyder came by. We had a whole video with him. And we actually, if you're a fan of this show, you saw Jeffrey Thorne pop in last time.
Heck yeah.
He was great. And I excised that and made it his own video. So if you want to just see that conversation, you can see that as well here on this channel.
Good idea.
Sure to click this subscribe button so you know when these videos go out, which is typically Sundays, Mondays. This show in particular is Monday nights, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And
I saw someone in chat mention your Scott interview and how insightful it was.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Scott's that's all on Scott's end. He's a super insightful cat.
Yeah.
And a fun guy, and was super forthcoming, happy to share and open and that was a really great chat as well, as it always is, because
Nice.
Scott's a friend of the show. So
Nice, yes.
that was
Yes,
terrific.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of traction about it. Some they're like absolute dedicated social media accounts who were like, "This is Scott said this is this," and they said ComicPop Returns, which I'm like,
Wow,
"Oh, that's cool."
very nice, very nice.
I know. That was cool.
Yeah, very
But
cool.
I really enjoyed Best of the Best. It was good stuff. Did you get a chance to read Absolute Superman?
What?
Did you
that
read
come out?
Yes. Yes, it did. Absolute Superman number 7 from Jason Aaron with art by Carmine D. Giandomenico. This is an all Brainiac special. It is just an issue that explains who Brainiac is, where he came from, how many iterations there have been, spoilers in the like hundreds of thousands, and what he's up to and why he's such a weirdo.
I feel like I have to leave the show now. I mean, what? I was like, oh, only one absolute book came out this week, and I read the other one.
Yeah, there were 2. I didn't read the other one though. I didn't read Absolute Green Lantern.
Okay, so there you go. All right, I don't feel as bad. I just literally I read through everything. I was like, yep, good. All right, that's it. Wow,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I have to go.
Honestly, this one was fine. Like
I'm still gonna read it.
Yeah. I mean, it is gonna have an impact on the rest of the line.
Okay.
But if you had to skip an issue, this is the one to do it because it's
really
all about Brainiac.
Well, how did you like? All right, so how did you feel about what maybe Aaron's setting up? What issue is this?
The 7.
Huh. Okay. Sorry, I was just having a thought. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it's it's fine. The art's great.
Shouldn't I guess all right. So like Wonder Woman was like issue 6 and 7 were like a break. Are we not doing that?
Well, this is kind of a break because it's not the main artist on the book. Rafa Sandoval's on the main book, and I believe this is.
Oh, okay.
Break,
maybe this is something different. Maybe they're trying to break up the story a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because I think
did this have like a to be continued or is it like a one shot kind of like?
Yeah. No, you know how like Superman went to Kansas at the end of whatever was in the present day. Brainiac's coming to Kansas as well. So
okay.
That's what the end of this issue teases, though. That's all we get. Brainiac's a janitor.
Man, Brainiac on his world tour. He's going to Kansas.
Yeah, he's hitting up Kansas. So
didn't
ready.
See that. Get a t-shirt.
Yeah, watch out, Wichita. But yeah, this is fine.
I will definitely read it.
Yeah. It's creepy and dark and quirky. It was interesting to see this version of Brainiac. Obviously it's going to be any other version than the one you're used to at this point.
Right. Is he still a collector or is he something else?
This one is not. This one shovels the bodies of discarded Brainiacs and then realizes at some point or another to go upstairs and finds out that like he's the only one left. So he's like, oh. Well then I guess I'll be Brainiac now.
Oh.
So he's kind of a sadist.
So he was never meant to be the Brainiac.
No, he's not.
Okay.
So that's a neat idea. I suppose.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
I mean, I like creepy, so maybe I'll really like this.
Yeah. Giandomenico stuff is good. The art's fantastic. And it's all just a big green alien and his duplicates on a ship, on a skull ship, They try to figure out who Superman is. That's kind of like the main thing. Is like, who's Superman? What's this all about? Why is anybody talking about him? Where'd he come from? We have no connection to. They also firmly established like we're not connected to Krypton. There's no
right.
Like we didn't regard them because they're not spacefaring. So who cares?
See, this is interesting too because this is within a world where it's like Brainiac kind of already won.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's kind of in charge. So
right.
Instead of it being like Brainiac invading the world where Superman's already established, it's more or less like he's like, excuse me, I was here first. Get away. Like, we don't need you. I got this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah, there's something interesting there. I mean, the cover alone that you flashed up there made it look like he was maybe a little bit of a sociopath.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I mean, like if you think that we're gonna have like a long running arc about the miniaturized people in this poor city, you are mistaken. Unfortunately, it does not end for these people well. But yeah, it is very much that. It is creepy and quirky and interesting, and
Yeah.
and we also have the origin of kryptonite, which I guess is a derivation of his like analysis of of the dust cape. It's very yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Little
yeah.
info dumpy, but also just like here's get to know this character because like we're gonna use him, but like I don't want to take time in the middle of the actual story to be like, let's learn about Brainiac.
Yeah, well, and we've been teasing him for like 6 issues. Like they've been
Mm-hmm.
bringing up Brainiac constantly.
Oh
And
no, for sure.
we also see a little bit of Peacemaker, like the Peacemaker, and how he fits into all this a little bit.
Oh,
So that's also in there, but it's not. There's no true closure. It's just kind of like setting things up. It's
okay.
just stacking dominoes.
Okay. I'm
So
okay
yeah,
with that.
right.
That means that there's a plan, and I like that.
Yes, exactly.
It's fun.
What else we got?
You want to talk about Absolute Green Lantern?
I think we should. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so this is written by Alex oh sorry, wrong one. This is written by Al Ewing with art by Janoy Lindsay.
Yep.
Yeah, like I really kind of dug this issue because it was told in terms of like, hey, this is the now, like we're in the diner ruins or the ruins or whatever with Joe and Hal talking.
Yes.
But we start to fill in the backstory and we start to really show that this, to me at least, feels like it's more about the cosmic idea of the Green Lantern more so than like often Earthbound Green Lantern, because I always think that's so interesting. Yes, Green Lantern is the space cop for this area and he's not always here, but often in terms of people who aren't reading a Green Lantern book, Green Lantern is just here on Earth, and it's kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, it's, you have a cool power and all that, but like, aren't you supposed to be more like cosmically based? And this one is like, let's talk about cosmic, right? In a way.
Oh.
And so like it's like it has this like sort of like Abin Sur comes down in like the cosmic sense. And I am talking like space cosmic, but I'm also talking like cosmic horror cosmic, where it's like Abin Sur is there for judgment that we cannot understand. And like he is an unfeeling super being.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's completely isolated this town from the rest of the world in what he has done. And then that to me states like reads cosmic horror, cosmic, like things out there we can't comprehend what's happening until XYZ happens, which I assume at some point we will begin to understand a little bit more so. But right now this feels like Ewing being like, let's make this a little less like Earth focused and more like there's something else going on and it happens to be happening here on Earth.
Yeah.
In this issue we get Guy Gardner for a quick second.
Okay.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I run into Guy Gardner, first of all, I don't like him.
Yeah.
Second of all, every time I say Guy Gardner, I feel like I don't know where the emphasis on the syllable should be. But I mean, I don't necessarily care for him as a character. I don't care for him as a Lantern. In this, I kind of feel bad. He just shows up. He's like the sheriff.
Yep.
He immediately is trying to keep the peace, trying to keep people safe, draws a weapon, but there's like talk down from doing that, and in the end is judged like not worthy and seemingly destroyed. I don't know. So it's like he's just there and then he's gone.
The Absolute Universe is very cavalier about killing fan favorite characters and just going like, they're not in this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to get bogged down. It's this character and nobody else.
Right. That said, like we get to see how Hal gets his hand taken away. We don't really know where the other energy or force comes from.
Sure.
But we start to get maybe a little bit of an idea as to what it is. Like so like I was like that's cool. He also like it is very much based on Guy Gardner having a gun and then Hal picking the gun up and like what the gun might represent in terms of like violence or fear. Right?
Yeah.
And so like Joe ends up with like the green light and we hear that like she is judged.
Okay.
And she ends up kind of like having the same look as, not like alien look, but like energy look as Abin Sur.
Oh, okay.
And so like this other force though seemingly wants to absorb like any spectrum of light, and it's not like necessarily like they make sure to qualify the fact that it's like I don't want to absorb it you know, it wants to supersede it. It wants to overturn it. Like, you know, it wants to be it and only like a void. And so like, I'm looking forward to seeing what that's coming from. But that to me also reads cosmic horror.
Right.
You know, like something that Hal doesn't currently understand, yet he is compelled. Like being compelled, it to me is like a frightening concept and often associated in terms of that sort of arena of horror.
Sure.
And I'm not saying this is a horror book, but like certain elements of it come across as Ewing being like, let's bring a little more like out there stuff into this book.
Yeah. What you'd expect from Al Ewing, I think.
Yeah. That said, we do confirm that John Stewart is still alive.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're not just killing every Lantern.
At least for right now, like in the past, I think it's the past. Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Where before they like everything's kind of like gotten messed up. Like we show that like John has an idea and he has a ring and it looks like it's yellow. Like he's figured something out.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, we're really doing a shake up here. I know last issue some folks were like they liked Lindsay's art.
Sure.
And some people were like, it's kind of like okay. I feel like Lindsay's finding a rhythm in these pages and panels. Yes. And I'm really looking forward to like seeing continued growth because even from issue 1 to issue 2, I definitely like see growth.
Okay.
And so like I have, you know, a lot of like hope and excitement. The effect of like, you know, Hal's like black hand with like the energy and like the sketchiness to it is cool. Like it's a really interesting effect against the other art. So like I this was the book I thought I was gonna be like, I mean, I definitely want to at least read through like the first arc, right? Like this Abinster whatever arc that we're going through right now. I want to know what the purpose of the Green Lantern is here. Like, are they actually benevolent? Is it actually good? Like,
yeah,
is there some sort of larger cosmic war going on that we'll find out about? So it's interesting. I'm not really sure how this is all going to fit in. But
yeah,
kind of interesting.
Well, they've worked it out. They've managed to square a lot of these circles, so I'm hopeful that Green Lantern will fit right. And this is generation 2 of Absolute, so I'm interested to see how this works. They all have their own very, very distinct identities that do not form to the previous runs. So
absolutely.
Well, thank you, Tiffany. We will bring you right back in just a second. But before we do, I want to welcome our special guest of the day. I'm very excited to have them. Thank you, Tiffany. And welcome to the show, Mr. Patrick Horvath. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. I am so excited to pimp out Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, A Tale of Spring. Or Rite of Spring, I should say. I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying. I have so many different spring titles in my head. But yeah, man, Rite of Spring. I had a chance to read the preview of this first issue. And
cool.
I want to be so careful. Because the first issue hits the ground. The first page spoils the entire first Beneath the Trees. And
no, I wouldn't think it spoils it necessarily. I mean, it kind of cuts to the chase of issue 1 for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't want, but I want people to pick up that volume too and just enjoy the mystery as it goes.
For sure. Yeah.
But I love your decision to go in this direction. I believe it takes place 8 years after the previous volume.
Yes.
And it looks like no time art-wise has passed. Like it looks like you drew or painted the first volume and then went right into this one. How soon after Beneath the Trees volume 1 wrapped did you get the tap to get volume 2 going?
I mean, as soon as issue 1 came out, they were like, "Do you want to do more?" And I was like, "Yes, I would love to do more," because it was very obvious to them that we had something fun happening, even with just issue 1 and the amount of folks that were into that. So I'd had it in my mind at that point. And I mean, when that happened, I was like on issue 4,
yeah,
on the art, whatever, right? And so of like, this is like all volume 1. So then it turned into, I'd already had an idea after I had done issue 1 of like, well, it'd be a shame to not do something else with this duck. Like it felt like there was a lot. I was realizing there was so much more I could do with this at that point.
Sure.
Right. And then by the time I did issue 3, I think I'd had the hook of what a big part of it was going to be. And that was issue 3 of that first arc has to do with grieving and the serious consequences that are fallout from like the victims that I mean, it's implied, but that Samantha takes, or any killer takes, right? But there's an impact. And that concept really stuck with me, and I was like, there's so much more, deeper we could go with this. God, it would be great if we had like a focus that was somebody whose life was impacted by Samantha specifically, and like, what the hell would that be? How would Samantha react with this? All that. And so I'd had that idea for quite a while. And then it just took last year was nuts because of the finishing up the first volume. And then I kind of did as many conventions as I could because that was my first book that had ever been really published. And so I was kind of a no-name, and I really wanted to just kind of use that momentum to meet people and go to conventions and meet readers and meet retailers and just everybody that I could. So that's kind of what took up all of last year. So like, I mean, I pretty much started putting this all together at the end of last year. And then and the art and stuff, it's all pretty much like the end of last year, beginning of this year. So almost like 9 months, 8 months in between. And then and I also did a short for DC horror, and then did a creep show segment. So they had done a couple other things in between. But yeah, so I'm glad to hear that it feels like it's all of the same thing. That was the goal. It was really interesting because by the end of like doing the first book, I remember very specifically being like, I'm ready to like evolve in terms of the style that I want to do. And so it was definitely like trying to like keep myself from getting too out there in terms of the style.
I see. So yeah, you were definitely making sure that you didn't get to like you didn't trip yourself up by being like,
exactly. Yeah, I just wanted to feel like I mean, I'm sure I was probably being like too careful about it, but like it was definitely conscious, like of like I want to make sure this feels like it's all the same.
Right. Which it definitely, I mean, it does, but you can see the progression. You can see the artistic evolution from volume 1.
That's, I can't, I'm glad. It's like every panel's doing push-ups, you know what I mean? So like,
oh, absolutely. Well,
drawing.
As I understand it, and when I say that, I mean, like we've talked before, and you've mentioned, this is painted. This isn't
correct. Yeah,
this isn't digital. This is all
it's all analog. It's inked. I ink it and then paint it in gouache.
Wow.
And I thin it out though. A lot of the gouache is like pretty. I mean, I use it almost like watercolor essentially. So which is why it looks very much like watercolor. But the gouache kind of affords me that opacity. I can really put it on thick if I need to fix stuff on the page, which I'm more and more doing on the paper than I am digitally, just because it's easier to fix it instead of clean it up on the computer. For me, personally for me, I've realized in the past that I'm just like, I need to put more effort on the paper than I do in the computer because it just takes less time for me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, the more you do analog, the less you have to touch up or deal with.
Exactly. And it's specifically like doing the touch-ups on the computer to make it seem analog, you know what I mean? Like that's where it really gets dicey. And so then I'm just like, if I just fix this on the paper, it's gonna save me a lot of time.
I won't have to deal with it later. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because when you think of people who work digitally, they love the versatility and the freedom that affords. Oh shit, this line isn't good, and then you can redo or recreate different patterns and stuff like that. Whereas with paint, it's like, I mean, you're not dealing with. I mean, while you are manipulating your gouache to be like water, it ain't like watercolor. Like that's kind of on the page.
Yeah. It's definitely it's all there. And it's I don't know, for whatever reason I found it's just been more forgiving for me for in terms of achieving what I wanted. And
Right.
I mean, there was definitely a time where I was very much trying to I was just, doing stuff digitally. Um
Oh, sure.
just to learn it and color it, and I would do a lot of like just inking and then coloring digitally just to see if I could get into the swing of that. And like when I
Yeah.
did free for all's like that. Free for all is all inked and then I color digitally, mostly to just try and teach myself more and become more competent with it. And but at the end of that's when I was like, I'm not doing this again. like I kind of realized, like I was like, I'm not as good as I want to be at it. And I see the work of other digital artists. I'm like, they're good. Like
Right.
I am not that. I cannot. I mean, I could, if I spend another like 5 years on this, I'd probably
Sure.
get much better. But I'm already feel way more better, more confident in
doing
analog.
this.
So like, why not just focus on that?
Absolutely. Now, folks, if you haven't already picked up the first volume of Beneath the Trees Nobody Sees, nominated for an Eisner, it is a particularly exciting independent story that is impressive to be over at IDW, and it's already available. You can already check that out. But this, Beneath the Trees Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring, is a 6-issue mini that the first issue drops on June 2nd, I believe. Is that right? Or I'm sorry, pre-order deadline. FOC.
Yeah,
FOC is June 2nd.
June 2nd, and then it should be hitting shelves on July 9, I believe.
Okay, cool. So keep an eye out for it in July. But if you want to make sure you're on the ground floor, I should probably do that myself because I like to make sure that if there's any kind of exciting new titles out there, I want to make sure I get one because
Put it on your poll list, everybody.
Exactly.
It's funny because that first go around, I don't even know what to attribute it to in terms of the popularity. I mean, it just kind of caught a wave I was not expecting, to be totally frank, and it kind of disappeared really quick. And so did the second printing, and then the third printing is still, they made it bigger because they kind of IDW realized they could, like, nobody could keep up with the other issues because there wasn't anything else out, so they did a much bigger run and it worked. It was just a lot better. I feel like the numbers are going to be more, hopefully they're like, we have issues for people, but definitely if you want to ensure getting one, like I would recommend like putting it on the pull list.
Definitely. Yeah, man, I am really excited about this.
Thanks, man.
Would you say is something about this that you are the most personally kind of like excited / proud of in this go around?
I mean, it's so like it's hard to talk about the book because there's obviously tons of stuff.
Oh, there's twists and turns. There's all kinds of things.
Yeah. And so like, but it's in terms of where like book one started and finished.
Yeah,
I was very much like, it was it's not wild, but like the ride is wild in terms of like what it was going to do. It was revealing itself, how far it would go, like how dark it was going to get, etc. Like that was kind of the ride.
right.
And so with the second go round, I was very much like in my head at the very beginning of like when I started writing it out in terms of hoping that it was like as successful as the first book, but then I kind of realized like I had to just pump the brakes and just reassess that because it was a very negative way of thinking. And then it just kind of, the big lesson I learned the first go around was like just to sort of trust whatever inspiration it was that kind of was steering me to begin with. Yeah. So like, because there were things in there that resonated with readers that I wanted to put into a book because I was afraid I'd never get another chance. And that was the weirder stuff that I thought was interesting, was like the stuff people really responded to. So I'm like, well, okay, like I need to just focus on like, what's that going to be? And then so anyway, with the second book, like where it starts and where it ends is like going to be such a ride that like I'm kind of thrilled about putting everybody through the paces with it, but like I can't say much about it, but like it's just it's gonna be a much bigger swing.
That's great. I like that. That's actually a pretty decent pull quote right there, man.
Sure. So
yeah,
it's, I don't I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to do this again. So like, we'll see. I mean, I would much rather crash and burn trying to do something wild though than I would.
Absolutely. No, you always, as the great Wayne Gretzky once said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You have to swing for the fences every time.
Sure.
Well, folks, if you want to pre-order the first issue of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees Rite of Spring, the pre-order or FOC deadline is June 2nd. So anytime before June 1st, you can tell your local comic book store, pre-order this book. And it's a 6-issue miniseries. You could just basically tell them, give me the whole series. Just give me all 6 issues. And they'll take care of it. If you want to get on the ground floor, pick up the first volume of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. That is available now. It's everywhere. Comic book stores, Amazon, wherever you want to get your books. And I would jump on this because it's hot and people are excited. And I've seen you at least 2 or 3 other conventions. Let me tell you, people are excited about these books. They're excited about this world.
Well, I appreciate hearing that.
I'm so excited to see where this insane ride goes. And I'm really excited to hear you talk about like really, really pulling out all the stops. That's going to be exciting, man. Before we go, is there any place that people can go to check out more of your stuff, like where they can kind of get the Horvath experience?
Sure. I mean, if you can keep up with me on, I mean, the easiest one I've found is just like patrickhorvath.com, and you can find like Twitter on there or Blue Sky. I have a newsletter I'm going to do updates on for anything big. I mean, a lot of the stuff happening right now, though, is me just sitting at the drawing desk. So so I'm just drawing and pushing these books because the FOC, like you mentioned, comes up on June 2nd. So we're really kind of trying to spread the word at the moment. But but yeah, best place to keep up is on there. You can find links for Instagram, Blue Sky, and newsletter.
Excellent. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for dropping by. Appreciate it, Patrick. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate
Our pleasure.
It.
Absolutely, man. Take care. Thank you so much.
Cool. Take care.
You too. Hey, Tiffany's back. You were playing video games. You're muted. There we go.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I couldn't even defend myself because I was muted.
Yes. I want to thank Patrick Horvath for dropping by. Thank you to IDW for setting this up, and we really appreciate it. If you haven't already checked it out, check out Beneath the Trees. It's really cool. It's a fun series and super weird and quirky. And again, it's like so neat that this whole book was painted. It was just I'm sure your ears perked up when you heard gouache because I know that you like.
I did. I was like, I can't believe you're the guy talking to him about gouache.
You're the one who keeps saying, I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm so awkward.
I am. Like, I don't.
I would have pulled you in, but I didn't want you to get mad at me.
I would have been literally. I had my knees up. I was playing my Switch, so I'm glad you didn't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you definitely have been like, "What are you doing?"
I just thought it was funny that you mentioned the watercolor thing when gouache is a water-based paint and often known as also nicknamed like an opaque watercolor because you can use it in that way. But they're very different. Gouache is easier to lift unless it's acrylic gouache, and then it's less.
Ah, I see. Well, there you have it. Well,
you said gouache. I was like, all right, good for him. You're picking up some stuff. But then also I was like, yeah, what do you know about gouache?
Yeah, whatever you tell me.
I know.
Well, Tiffany read a Star Wars book, so talk about that.
Yeah, I did. I randomly did. I read Star Wars #1 by Alex Seguera and Phil Noto. It's set after Return of the Jedi and about the New Republic trying to pull itself together. Now it's trying to pull together support and acceptance from other planets and systems, trying to be like, no, trust me, we're a real thing. We're a real. Come on, get with it. Everyone's like, why should I do that?
Yeah.
Why should I do that? Why should I do any of these things that you say?
Right.
And Seguera clearly is setting up some larger scheme that's going on, right? Like there's something else, some grand mystery with converging plots going on. Because we see like what Leia's doing, and Leia is like dealing with like Mon Mothma and other like delegates and such from other systems as they're trying to pull together like, hey, listen, we're gonna help you out, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna blah blah blah, and like there's someone being like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that, we're insulted by you, all that crap, right?
Sure.
You've got Han,
all the tumult of
100%. Han, who's helping out like someone he knows, and he's on his own and he's flying solo. You've got Luke, who's dealing with X-Wing stuff. There's pirates out there who seemingly are utilizing Imperial ships as pirates, so that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, so it's like they have like ties and they have Star Destroyers, but they're pirates and they're like stealing supplies from people and pillaging and all of that.
Are they custom? Do they paint them and stuff?
Not this one, at least.
Oh.
I mean, I guess that would take a lot. Can you imagine having to paint a whole Star Destroyer?
Oh no, that would be a nightmare. I mean, you have to use another Star Destroyer to do it.
I put giant teeth on it. Now it looks like a big shark.
That would be cool. That's a great idea. Because you don't want to be confused with a Star Destroyer. People would be like, "Oh crap, the Empire's back. Great, I got to shoot at them."
Right. Yeah, and then you have like like an X-Wing pilot dies, and it's all this stuff, and like it's seemingly all three of these stories are somehow related to one another, and like what's the common thread? Well, eventually, I guess we'd find out. Phil Noto, doing some really nice work because like the cast we know looks like the cast we know, right? Like sometimes when you see them trying to draw, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, it's like kind of close. I mean, this isn't like a 1-for-1, but Noto has a very distinct style, but you instantaneously recognize the characters, right?
Yes, he captures some essence of the actor, and doesn't have to approximate it. Because I've seen so many different Star Wars comic books where they're clearly just drawing from like a still.
Yeah.
Like from the movie where they're like, oh, I need Luke looking concerned. Well, I'll just watch the trilogy and then I'll pull an image from
it. The new characters that were introduced they're rendered well. They're lovely. We meet these delegates and they have like a very distinct color palette to their clothing and armor. And I was like, oh, this is very striking. It's a very striking look.
Yeah.
I don't know if this issue was enough for me to go like, wow. But I also don't know what I was expecting. So I feel like I shouldn't judge it based on a single issue. Because it definitely hits a lot of the hallmarks where it's just like, oh, we got like A plot, B plot, and in fact C plot here. And obviously we're hopefully going to see our heroes all come together. But for a lot of people, this is a position that we haven't seen these three in.
Right.
Where it's like they're at the end of something and the start of something else. They're in between something where, the antagonizing force is obviously there'll actually be an antagonist, but it's also just like chaos in a way, like in the void of power that was the Empire.
Yeah.
How do you pull everybody together and have everybody trust each other and not have like a power scramble going on? So I think there's something interesting there. And of course, like I like Phil Noto's art. I think it's really fun.
Same. Yeah.
He's again very distinct style. So I think there's a lot to enjoy. But like this didn't like knock it out of the park for me. It wasn't like I was like, wow, it's like I'm right there, like watching another movie. It was just like, oh, okay, cool. Which I think is pretty good.
Right. That's not bad. The only tragedy, of course, is the most recent news that there's an episode of Andor season 2 that tells you the origin of K2SO meeting Andor, and there was already a Marvel comic that came out that did that, and the movie people / Disney was like, we don't care. Like we're not going to do that.
Yeah,
we're doing this, and it's like, oh, but I thought you were all kind of connected. I thought the whole thing was the whole point was that you guys were all kind of like working together and setting up this thing. And they're like, no, it's very much like George, where it's like, oh, I don't care. Whatever happens in the books and comic, knock yourself out. But like the movies are canon and that's the end of it.
Right. Yeah.
Not even most of my cartoons are canon. Like Star Wars, Ewoks, forget it. None of those shows. The movies, Caravan of Courage, forget about it. Droids, no. Anyway, Star Wars. Who'd have thought we'd be talking about that?
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, oh, maybe Sal will read this. So I was like, I'll keep up.
Yeah. No, I did not. Sorry.
It's in my Kindle library.
Nice. Thank you. Well, I read Storm, of course.
Nice.
From Marewa.
Wow, look at this classic team up here.
Yeah, look at these two. Look at these two thundering it up. Marewa Ayodele and Lucas Wernick continuing their, saga of Storm being like unto a god.
Right.
And dealing with like, this is where the book has become a Tiffany book, where it's like, there are gods and like, we kind of like, there's going to be a thunder war coming up, where all the thunder gods are going to be clashing.
What?
and because they all have to deal with like this ancient thunder god that the one above all had to stop him, like themselves.
Okay.
Which I was like, wow, way to pull the one above all. Like, there are a lot of deep Marvel lore cuts in the last 2 issues of Storm. But it's a really cool book that just doesn't forget that this book is about Storm, and it doesn't like try to be anything other than just a really cool like set up for this new status quo that could stay or not.
Okay.
But at the very least, people will remember this if they're reading it. I hope they are.
Yeah.
A really good book. But Hadad is this like ancient like mighty god from 1 billion years ago that used the Phoenix Force as armor.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Until God showed up and was like, knock it off.
Excuse me. That's not what that's for.
No, but Hadad is coming back, and so Thor is kind of like, well, listen, if you need me, use this feather and you can call me. And Storm's like, my attackers are the one who are going to need help, and then leaves.
Here's this feather. Thor, get
and
me
the raven. That's the god portion.
Do
and
you
then
have
like
a computer?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
But also like there's a like Maggot is abusing the sanctuary that Storm has set up in Georgia as a kind of like fighting arena where he's fighting like She-Hulk and Juggernaut and stuff. And Storm has a bureaucratic conversation with an alien representative of the United States of America. When I say alien, I mean like with multiple like ridges and stuff like that, like Star Trek alien.
Oh, okay.
And
I mean, she should be used to this. She just got done with the Racco and all that.
They mention Krakoa in a very interesting way, where they someone offers to resurrect Krakoa and start the second Krakoan age.
Okay.
And I was like, what?
Okay.
You're not going to do that. But like, I can't believe that Brevoort let you say that.
I wasn't paying attention.
No, he's like, I'm not reading that. I'm only focusing on making sure that Cyclops is tiny and young. But if you're sleeping on Storm, pick up Storm. It's a good book.
Wow, very nice.
Right?
Very nice.
I agree. I assume you read Wolverine because I did.
I sure Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah, Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah, of course I did. Written by Chris Condon with guest art this time by Alex Linz.
Yep, who did a great job.
Yeah, I thought I agree. I agree with that. I don't know why my brain didn't see this coming, but as soon as it was happening, I was like, duh.
Yeah. No, this cover suggests like Werewolf by Night is going to fight Wolverine. You're like, oh,
literally, cool. I wasn't even thinking about the cover. Like, I was like, whatever. It's like a fun image. Moving on, because I try not to read too much into the covers because they're often they're so disparate from one another.
Yeah.
But this is the issue where it's like Ultimate Wolverine #5, enter Sabretooth. It might as well just be called that.
yes, which it should. Interesting version of Sabretooth. Like,
yes, for
cool.
sure. Very interesting. It's like I thought it was a really fun twist to have him be like essentially one of the good guys.
Yeah.
But they left the relationship between the two of them, or at least with their early relationship, fighting together.
Yeah.
Logan and Victor, very similar.
Yes.
But the shift in like the nature of where they land after the wars.
Right, exactly. This is not he's a savage Sabretooth, but he's not a vindictive, every birthday I'm going to like push your face in yellow snow kind of Sabretooth. Like this is a savage Sabretooth that's willing to get down and dirty with Logan, but also is fighting on the side of the Angels. It's interesting.
But like he's also like his desire to do that doesn't come from a rivalry. It comes from the fact that he's just like, you're not who you're like an empty shell, and like that's wrong, and we got to fix this.
Well, you asked me to keep this from happening to you, and I failed.
Yeah, I made a promise, man. Yeah. I got to keep it, right? Like I'm a man of my word. Which is again very interesting take on Victor. If we see Victor in Rasputin Guard, like he owns a bar.
Yep.
I love that. Very fun.
Same.
And he smuggles mutants. One of the mutants is Leech, which I thought was adorable.
Yes.
I was like, it's a Morlock.
Clutch. Like Leech was helpful.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. But it's like, this is such a fun, easy way to put Sabretooth in the story, right? Like, hey, let's keep this story going. We still need to introduce more characters.
Right.
let's have it be something where it's like, oh, within Rasputin Guard, there are mutants, but they're being smuggled out. We don't want that to happen. So we send Wolverine. One of the people who happens to be someone who's helping is Sabretooth. Like, brilliant.
Yep.
It's also a great way to immediately have a fight between the two of them. Like, we don't like build up to like, oh, will they, won't they? It's like, no, they will.
Well, and that's what this book is. Like, this book is always like a deep, dark secret of Logan's, punctuated by a big splash action sequence.
Yes.
And it's like, because we're doing an effing Wolverine book, for God's sake. Like, this is it's not 1993 anymore. No one's here to just watch Wolverine put on a plaid shirt and ride a motorcycle and be sad. They're here to watch Wolverine pop his collar. Well, then we got hundreds of issues of that for you to enjoy. But
you know what I'm thinking is that, like, if Tom wants a break from doing some DC, he could write a sad Wolverine book.
Dude, a 5 to 8 issue miniseries with a 9-panel grid throughout, drawn by some luminary of the era, written by Tom King, that is just Wolverine is sad the whole time. I'm down.
Right?
I was gonna say I'd be careful what you wish for because of his Wolverine Revenge book that was written by Jonathan Hickman.
Right.
But if you haven't already seen it, we did a whole back issues on it, and I was like, oh, that's what the book is about.
I
like,
think
revenge.
that book suffered from week to week reading. It should have been an OGN.
Yes, that would have been amazing. That would have blown people's minds. Then you just sell 2 OGNs, the red band and the regular. But but Tom King doing a sad Wolverine, I'm in. But I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. He's working with James Gunn.
I know.
The Green Lantern show.
I know. I'm just saying, Tom, if you want
life is long.
Writing...
The fact is, life is long, and these characters live forever. So there will be an
Wolverine.
Well, in hell, what is your? Because I asked this question a long time ago. If you could, excluding Lobo, who would you want to see from DC crossover with Wolverine? Who is the marquee crossover character? Because Tom could write that for the Marvel DC crossover.
Sure. I don't have an answer to that.
I think it's got to be Batman, which I think is a shame, but like, I think it's Batman.
Are we talking about for like who's gonna like readability and like sellability, or are we talking about interesting story?
No, interesting story. You could do anything. You could do Green Arrow Wolverine. It'd be a really interesting story, especially if you did like a Mike Grell kind of Longbow Hunters book. But it wouldn't sell. No, you got to do what people want. You got to give the people what they want.
Well, I mean, the answer is always going to be Batman.
Well, that's very true. Because nobody wants to see Superman versus Wolverine.
No. No.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
But that's a great question, because I don't want to see Batman, like Batman Iron Man. That'd be fun, but like, nah. I'd rather see Batman Wolverine.
A weirdly difficult character for me to pair up with someone.
I know.
In that universe.
Such a loner.
Yeah. What about Artemis?
That'd be cool. Or Absolute Wonder Woman.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Hey, actually, just regular Wonder Woman. Tom would be like, yeah, Daniel Samperl draw it. We'll just do that.
I've got everything going for me in that instance.
That'd be cool to see them fight, because she'd use her bracers to block his adamantium claws.
Anyway, talking about this book, though.
Oh, yes. Wolverine number 5. Ultimate Wolverine 5.
So, Ultimate Wolverine, Black Widow enters. I completely forgot she was the driver that they picked up.
Me too. Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. And that was when I realized how much this book leans into X-Men lore rather than Winter Soldier. Like, it's not really a Winter Soldier book.
Oh, who gives a crap? We don't need any Winter Soldier.
But it totally makes sense. But it's so funny because it's like, yes, he is technically the Winter Soldier, but he's not. This is just an X-Men book. But we really have an X-Men book, so we don't want to call it that. So, you know what I mean?
I do.
In terms of art, like, I love Cappuccio.
Yes.
But I thought Lynn's brought a really different and very fun energy to this book. Really like his shadows, really like the looseness of his line work. I love that when we first meet Victor, he's like softer. There's something soft about the way that Lynn's renders him.
Right.
So he looks less like he's very much less dangerous looking.
Yeah.
But then once Wolverine arrives, there's a real energy shift and he becomes a lot more menacing and a lot more dangerous looking, which I was like, I like this a lot. Like, like when Sabretooth is Victor and he's running the bar and he's helping children and he's, making sure they're okay. He's just a gentle giant.
Yeah.
But when he needs to, he's just like, I am Sabretooth though.
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, this actually makes me interested in you, Sabretooth.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like I don't know, this book, Ultimate Wolverine, continues to surprise me and continues to draw me further into the world that they're building 100%.
Yeah, it's a solid book. So
Yeah.
I dig it. Let's see here.
I read Let This One Be a Devil #3.
Yay, did you? That's great.
Yeah.
I did keep that, so we can talk about that.
This is by James Tynion IV and Steve Fox, with art by Piotr Kowalski. This is the penultimate issue.
Oh my god.
It's only 4 issues. I was like, oh, which I was
love them
like,
4-issue minis.
It's a shame, but I'm also very
but
excited.
Good. You know what?
Did
Didn't overstay its welcome. Yeah.
So like this issue is like the town's whipped up in a frenzy, livestock are being killed in the night. Everyone's like, I saw the devil, it was this, and like someone in charge of the town, or in a higher position, is like, it's obviously just a coyote, it's just this, it's just that, right? Okay, yeah. We know we're reading a comic book and it's not that.
Yep.
The family that we've been following, it's Charlie, the older brother, Roy, his younger brother, and their mom. His dad has passed. We learn a little bit more about why Roy has such a chip on his shoulder, the younger brother. Charlie starts having some really weird dreams.
Oh.
And Roy and his young friends take to the woods to find and kill the Jersey Devil, or will it find them first? We don't know. Like, they're going to go out there, they're going to take care of business, these kids.
Okay.
Essentially. But they're like kids in like the early 1900s, so they're like more like mini adults.
Okay.
You got to grow up faster. You don't have time to be a
of
kid.
course. No,
You're not going to live very long anyway, so get going.
Yeah.
Part of me's a little worried about this book that it cannot satisfyingly wrap up, but I also, the other part of me, completely trusts the team. So I'm very much looking for the next issue. Like, I like it quite a bit. I think the art is quite good, very befitting of this story. So looking forward to it.
Nice. Yay. Well, you also read It's Jeff.
I did.
Yay.
I did. I read. It's
Jeff
actually
Week.
It's Jeff and Jeff Week in one book. Those are 2 different comics, or 2 different collections.
Okay.
And so we have It's Jeff by Kelly Thompson and Gertie Hiru, and Jeff Week by Gustavo Duarte.
Okay.
I just want to address the Jeff Week. I didn't enjoy that quite as much. It was fine. Apparently in my brain, Gertie Hiru is the only person who can draw Jeff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I just can't accept Jeff in any other capacity. So like, it was throwing me off quite a bit. I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But that said, It's Jeff. The It's Jeff part of this, man, I had such a good time with this. Obviously there's a bunch of little shorts. It's very cute. It's very sweet. It's very all ages friendly. It's Jeff, just in general, any It's Jeff comic, very much like if you have a younger reader in your family, if you like have a young child, this is a great option for kids to take a peek. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, there's very little words at all, if any. So it's more or less about like just comprehending the images, and it's a great way to get someone into learning how to read panels just in general to follow along.
I love that idea. Yeah, teaching people how to read comics, because apparently we need to do that.
Yeah, they don't quite get it. Don't quite get it. And that's okay. That's okay. But it's a great like opportunity for, like, again, all ages. Yes. I'm adult. I really enjoyed it. I really thought that the one with Jeff and all these baby goslings was going to be my favorite one. But then the lemonade stand showed up, as you saw, like, Jeff's trying to help a little girl. She has a lemonade stand. Everybody is down the street. No one is coming to her lemonade stand. So Jeff successfully puts together a lemonade sign that leads the people to her. It's very sweet. But then Kelly Thompson was like, hang on, I wrote one just for Tiffany. Not really. Where it is Jeff and Doctor Strange. There's like 2 Doctor Strange comics in there. So that's just peak. This image here, I was like, cool. This is not getting any better.
Right. It's like, when are they going to do this combo in Marvel Rivals? Yeah,
right. Look at this. Look at him. It's so sweet. It's so cute. Just a ton of fun. I really had a nice time. And is it going to like change your life? No. Is it going to put a smile on your face? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep it coming.
Yay. I read a book that I did not expect to, and I probably should have made it the title / like thumbnail of this book or this episode. But I read this book that like it's got a lot of traction. A lot of people are talking about it, a lot of hype from Al Ewing and Carlos Gomez, and that is of course All-New Venom. Number 6. This is explaining the big retcon / reveal of who All-New Venom is and why. I should tell you that Gomez is born to draw a Spider-Man book, and I hope that Carlos Gomez survives this aura / era of All-New Venom, because it's getting a lot of negative press because it's so terrible. Like, it's just a really, really weird book. But it's Al Ewing is not a hack. You tell me that Al Ewing is doing anything, you're going to read it. And clear, I don't know if Al Ewing had a pitch that was make Mary Jane Venom, but this is smart what he's doing. Let me tell you why. Paul is one of the main characters of the All-New Venom series. Venom, Mary Jane and Paul have taken in Dylan, Eddie Brock's son,
who just had a banana.
What's that?
I said who just had a banana.
And it is just a weird slice of life book that has an odd ping pong tone that I can't imagine anybody being fired up about. But if you read what's happening, I mean, they literally invented a rift between Paul and Mary Jane. Like, they actually say in this book, these two aren't intimate anymore because Venom is here. Like, we are creating a barrier, and Paul is constantly whinging about how not fair life is. And you're not even from this dimension, so go back where you came from. But
is Venom like being a wingman?
He's kind of broing out for Spider-Man. He literally saves Mary Jane's life. Like, Mary Jane is this cockamamie jackpot nonsense that like no one asked for, that Zeb Wells invented, which is like, she has a thing from another dimension. She pushes buttons. It's like a casino, crank
a slot machine.
A slot machine. Thank you. I gamble a lot, as you can see. I go to AC all the time. But based on what she rolls, she gets powers determined by that. It's just like, what are you doing? And it's like, because she said jackpot one time. Like, why doesn't she just turn into a tiger? But it's horrendous. Basically, but the roulette of it all, this is how we prevent her from having to be a member of the Avengers or whatever, is because she might come up all skulls and die. And they were like, that's the end of that. And Venom, she rolls a death thing, and she becomes atomized, and Venom grabs her. And the moment before Venom goes to save her, the first thing that Venom thinks is, what would Spider-Man do? And says that to Paul. And it's just like, that's amazing. So yeah, this book, I don't know who it's for. I don't know what it's about. It's clearly like, look at these characters. Like, the first 5 issues were, who's Venom? This issue is, it's Mary Jane until we can get rid of Paul, and then we'll fix it. Like, you could feel this like behind editorial's back work that is being
why are you
done.
saying this out loud?
Because there's no effing way that Tom Brevoort is aware of the show.
He's taking notes right now. Knock it off,
despite the fact
Tom.
that he's actually been on this channel before. But yeah, I'm really just wanted to mention that Carlos Gomez is doing a great job, and I can't wait to see Gomez on a Spider-Man book someday, because he's really good.
All right,
it feels like it's work. Like, I feel like they're doing something. I feel like this is like,
it's funny because it's like within like the past couple of months, I feel like the things I've heard about Venom are, 1, it's Mary Jane, people being upset about that, and 2, yes, he can twerk in Marvel Rivals. So it just kind of feels like it's a weird time to be a Venom fan.
Or the best time. to be a Venom fan. I mean, especially because the twerking Venom is not Mary Jane.
How do we know?
Well, that's true. Well, because of how big he is, but I guess that's true. It could be augmented. You don't know. And you can get the all-new Venom suit in Marvel Rivals. So, well, no, you can't. You're just orange.
Yeah, you're orange. You're orange.
He's not orange. Just the spider's orange. Or the
yeah,
dragon.
No, you're all orange. The dragon.
Yeah. Or you're a dragon. Anyway, moving on to our last book of the night, Amazing Spider-Man #3, Joe Kelly, Pepe Larraz. Have you read this?
I did not. I said I was only going to read the one. Should I not? Should I read more?
Yeah, it's good.
Wait, actually, I read 2, didn't I?
Yeah, you did read 2.
I'm a jerk.
You know, the book is about Joe Kelly doing 2 stories. There's the Peter Parker as a kid story and the Peter Parker is on drugs / dealing with his past A story. And this issue in particular, we see him fighting Joe Kelly creation Itsy Bitsy, a hodgepodge of Spider-Man and Deadpool's genetic material, who also has the hots for Spider-Man, so it's super creepy. And it is weird. And it's like, who asked for that? And it's like, oh, Joe Kelly, because he invented Itsy Bitsy. That's why. Okay. But Itsy Bitsy is working for, another higher up character. And we've already teased in the first issue that Hobgoblin is involved. And
sure,
there is a tease for Hobgoblin at the end of this issue. And it's like, oh, okay, Hobgoblin, cool. And he's got a flaming sword. So I guess it's one of the other, I guess it's Phil Urich, but maybe not because he's dead. I don't know. It's like, the only complaint I'll give this book is that Hobgoblin is my favorite goblin design.
I know that.
And he's just an orange green goblin, but he's not crazy. And I think that's scary and cool.
Well, he's crazy in his own way.
Well, that's true. He's crazy to dress up like a goblin at all. But I love how cool Hobgoblin looks. And I like how intimidating he is just by being a jerk in a goblin costume. Like, he doesn't need a flaming sword. He doesn't need to look like a demon like Macendale did. He just needs to be a jerk in an orange green goblin costume. But anyway, that's a digression. This issue in particular is, again, it balances Peter's kind of jerk period when he was a little kid and hung out with the wrong crowd. One of those kids grew up and gave him a job at the Rand Corporation. Peter's screwing that up. He's working with Norman Osborn. We're setting that up too. And he's fighting Itsy Bitsy, who is never looked cooler than drawn by Pepe Larraz. This book looks like Amazing Spider-Man should all the time.
Right.
Larraz is rushing.
You wanted a AAA.
You need it. And Joe Kelly is not who I would have picked for an ongoing writer on Amazing Spider-Man. And he's not a terribly exciting, hot new writer. But he is an accomplished, seasoned, good storyteller.
Yes.
So no matter what, you're going to get a good story. And unlike his compliment like Mark Waid, I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
I don't think Mark Waid gets Spider-Man.
That's fair.
I don't understand why. I think it's because he's too much of a Superman fan. But anyway.
That's fair.
But every Mark Waid Spider-Man book I've been pass.
Right.
And I've read them with great interest, but they're not good. But Joe Kelly's crushing it. But getting Pepe Larraz on this, and Larraz just going for it.
It's like a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Absolutely.
I mean, just get any of the Krakoa people and bring them over to the Spider-Man.
But Larraz is he just has such an incredible style and really loves drawing action and motion. So he's just he just always elevates the things that he touches.
100%. And that's happening in this, where if this were a artist that Marvel would normally put on Amazing Spider-Man, if this was John Romita Jr., it would be forgettable. It would be passé. No one would be excited about this book. Because it's Larraz, it's exciting. And even if you're not terribly excited by the things that are happening, there's no sacrilege. There's no messed up weird crap.
Right.
It's just a straightforward Spider-Man story with AAA art on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I wanted. So I'm reading it, and I think it's really good. I don't really care about Itsy Bitsy, but again, I think Itsy Bitsy is kind of not going to be a regular character in this book.
Sure. You think it's just also, a for now thing.
Yeah, but she looks great. Larraz knows how to draw her, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess what you're feeling
shocking.
right now is just being like, okay, like it may not be like the most incredible thing I've ever read, but like it is competent and it makes sense and it feels like, they have like a plan.
Yes, it's the right lesson. It's exactly what Marvel should be doing on a regular basis. It's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you don't have a plan, you don't have a great artist, or you don't have a great writer planned. Get someone who knows the work, who can do it, who can deliver consistently and above board,
Absolutely.
and just get like a hot, great, quick writer or artist.
Yeah.
It just delivers. I dig it.
Good. I'm glad.
So check out Amazing Spider-Man if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Read the first 3 issues. Like, you might like it.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the chatter. So what's our book of the week, Tiffany?
Great question. I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed Ultimate Wolverine, but obviously it's Jeff because it's Jeff because Doctor Strange, it's Jeff combo.
Right. Yeah. It's Jeff.
It's fine. There it is. There it is.
It's Jeff was your book of the week. Nice.
Yes.
I think
I copped out this week.
That's fair. I want to give it to Spider-Man because like it would be so audacious to do it, but I think I have to give it to All-New Venom. No, I'm kidding. I'll give it to Black Canary, Best of the Best. I think this was a great series. I think it's going to be a great soft cover. Who knows? Again, I think it's going to get Superman or Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, where if there's no movie, then it'll just be forgotten.
Yeah, that's fair.
but I liked it. I liked it a lot. So
excellent.
So let's jump into some super chats. Tiffany, do you want to read them?
I can read them for you.
Great, thank you. All right, Here we go.
Okay, Choco Kid saying, "Get well, Sal."
Thanks, Chocobo Kid. Appreciate it.
Dante Cook saying, "Oh no, Sal's sick again. Please take care of yourself and never be afraid to take some time off for yourself. We'll be here when you return. Also, have you tried daily multivitamins? I never started. I started and never been sick since.
Yeah, I've been taking them for over a year.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Hulkzilla says, wishing our favorite comic book host the best health.
Thank you. Yes, Tiffany, I hope you have good health as well.
Oh my gosh, you're the favorite. Bear Farmer says, answer, answer? Superman. I have
Absolute
waffled
Superman.
on Absolute Superman. Got it. Absolute Superman. I've waffled on this book, but this issue nailed me to the floor. I loved how crazy he is. Brainy Ochre?
Yeah.
I'm feeling less into it now that I've thought about that.
That's fair.
Brady, Bear Farmer going on to say, Absolute Green Lantern has pink aliens, green lanterns, black hands, and yellow rings. I really like the amount of color here, and it's not just a bunch of rings. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
right?
That's true. That's true.
It's a Lucky Charms of marshmallows, in a way. Tinfoil Tyrant saying, is Phase 5 a success? Thunderbolts was a smash hit. Deadpool and Wolverine was a hoot. Daredevil was great despite CG slop. B&W wasn't bad for being found in the edit.
Yeah, I mean, like going down the list of Phase 5 projects, what actually constitutes Phase 5? Thunderbolts, loved it, nailed it. It's a great movie. Definitely see it. Brave New World, fine. Totally passable. There's nothing horrible about this movie. It's not an affront. It's just, it's there. Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion. Who cares? The Marvels, I enjoyed. I liked The Marvels. I had a good time watching that movie.
Too.
It is the worst performing movie of all time, but it's
one of the Marvel or just in life?
I think like it lost like $300 million. Like it's an unbelievable disaster. Financially, but that said, I enjoyed it. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, great. Capped off the trilogy. It's a fantastic movie. No complaints.
Yeah.
And then there's Quantumania, which is one of the worst Marvel movies ever.
A real shame.
Yeah, it's the Thor: Love and Thunder of Phase 5, and so yeah, that's not bad.
That's what makes me upset is that like that movie did better financially than the Marvels. And Quantumania. It's just,
I know
that ain't it.
Now in TV, Secret Invasion is again the worst Marvel show they've ever made. Loki was a triumph, fantastic, constantly watchable. What If skipped it. I liked Echo.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and I didn't watch Agatha all along.
Although Ethan says that I should watch at least the first couple of issues or episodes.
Absolutely. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I enjoyed over time. Like, I appreciated it as it grew. And Daredevil Born Again I also enjoyed. And also Ironheart will come out in June, which is hilarious. Because they couldn't care less about that show. They're just done. But yeah, Bear Farmer.
Bear Farmer coming back to say Ultimate Wolverine Sabretooth. That is all.
Yep.
A Secret Boss saying, here's 5, buy Kitty some treats. Can do.
Thank you, A Secret Boss. We'll do, no problem.
Those are put aside for wash.
Exactly.
Taylor saying, Blackjack Canary. Blackjack Canary was great, but let this one be the Devil #3 was amazing. Wasn't it? It's so good. It really is. It really is. That could have, it was between Ultimate Wolverine and let this one be a devil, but I figured I might as well give it to It's Jeff because King of New York coming in to say, I hope you feel better, Sal. Thoughts on Andor season 2?
Haven't watched it yet, but Ethan loves it, and I loved the first season, so I'll probably enjoy this as well. No question. Let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out.
Absolutely, and I am definitely not.
Here, just go to the private chat and click on this link.
I can search. I know how searching works.
I know you do. I should mention, of course, that Absolute Batman #8 is dropping. This is the second issue of the Marcos Martin team up with Scott Snyder. If you haven't already seen it, Scott came on the show in this channel this Sunday. It was great. Fantastic conversation. Lot of stuff revealed about his plan. So check this out. But check out that video as well.
Absolutely. Ultimate X-Men is coming out. This is Ultimate X-Men #15. Peach Momoko absolutely killing it.
Yep, absolutely killing it.
Ultimately killing it.
Black Panther.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you had another one. I was waiting.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Ultimate Black Panther #16 will be dropping. Man, I hope people find this book one day. I really think Brian Hill is doing just such a great job on this title. It's so much fun. It's just so much fun. I think it's just really well done. One World Under Doom #4. Doomamu.
Doomamu, yes.
Yeah, power couple. Listen, I figure Doom has already outthought Dormammu.
Probably.
But I'd love to see how. Right? Where are we going with this? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Wolverine #9. That's right, Wolverine, not Ultimate Wolverine. But it's a good book, and it's fun. Saw it in Ahmed, Javier Pina. Check it out. Batman Dark Patterns #6. Scarface the Building. Dan Waters and Hayden Sherman. This is great. This is great. The cover,
this is all I know about
notes.
This book. Scarface is a building.
Yeah, The Voice of the Tower, Part 3. This should be the end of this, I think, before it moves on to the next Dark Patterns, which will be the Old Gangs of Gotham, because it's like a trilogy.
Nice
books.
Very nice.
I love that, and it's definitely worth checking out. Let's see here. There's going to be a new Supergirl book. I guess we could read that at some point. It's from Sophie Campbell and Tamara Bonvillain. I don't know. We'll see. I like Supergirl, but you know.
I see Godzilla is going to be facing the X-Men this week.
Yes.
#1 is it Nicieza?
Oh, I hope so.
It's Emilio Nicieza.
Yes. Yeah, it's set in the 90s, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, ton of variant covers potentially on this one. So get your favorite if you're interested in this.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, you're gonna be reading Doctor Strange of Asgard.
Excuse me. We made an agreement. I wasn't going to read this anymore.
No, I know. I also am not going to read it. But I will be reading Gwenpool #1 from Cavan Scott and Stefano Nessi. I don't know. I got to know what's going on. I got to know what Marvel was teasing with this stuff. We'll see how it goes.
There's a new James Tynion #4 book coming out, this time with art by Michael Walsh. So if you like these two, there's going to be a new book coming out called Exquisite Corpses.
Nice.
It's pitched as it sounds like a little purgy, but not. Every 5 years on Halloween, the wealthiest families in America play a game. The 12 of the deadliest people in the world are dropped into a small town with just one goal. Last killer standing wins.
Yeah, that's kind of purgy.
It's also set in Maine, so Stephen Kingian, maybe Stephen King homage there. I don't know. But yeah, if you like that duo, you like those folks, you might want to check that out.
You
Be on
may.
the ground floor of it.
Yep.
Oh my
Bear
gosh.
Farmer.
Phantom Road, the frickin' story I keep forgetting is coming out. Number
Yes.
12.
I know.
If you're reading that one. Do we have another super chat?
We do. We have 2 more.
Oh my goodness. Bear Farmer saying, Resurrection Man! This book is really interesting. I hope you guys talk about it soon. Not necessarily on the couch. I don't see a huge market for Resurrection Man, LMAO.
Nope. If you want, you can see us talk about the first issue on our old show, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That episode, I don't remember what the hell it was, but it was probably obscure DC characters, one of the volumes we did. But we did talk about that. And it is a continuation of that series. So definitely. That was one of the books that was on my chopping block this week. I was just like, I don't have time. I had to cut something.
That's fair.
And Matt Fisher says, what a BMOC. Until 8 Deaths ends, make mine CP.
Nice.
And that's it. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with
us.
Wait,
that's it? Really?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not going to read Godzilla, Here There Be Aliens?
No.
Oh, okay. This is the Godzilla book coming out.
Oh, cool. But it's not part of the Kai-Sei era. That's
no, but it is from IDW.
Yes. I also heard that they're doing IDW is doing something else. God, it was they're doing an Event Horizon prequel book.
Oh,
and as I understand it, it's going to be like a hard like R.
Yo, do they just not have the frickin' Silent Hill license anymore?
No, I'm sure they don't. I mean, like, who would? I don't know.
Who has that?
I don't know. But it's going to be by Tristan Jones and Christian Ward.
Nice.
And
Tristan
Jones. Yeah, he did the Batman Madness like Cthulhu book.
Oh.
And Tristan Jones is an amazing alien / predator artist. So that's worth picking up. That's not coming out like this week, but I'm going to keep an eye out for it.
Okay.
And I'm sure Christian Ward was a better writer than Paul W.S. Anderson, so I'm sure it'll be actually a better version of Event Horizon than Event Horizon was. Because people think they love that movie, and then you got to watch it again. It's dumb.
It is dumb.
The Resident Evil guy made it.
Yeah, but I still like it. But I also like those Resident Evil movies because I have simultaneously decent taste and the most garbagey worst. I'm a raccoon.
That's how it shows that like you are to be trusted because like you have guilty pleasures, you have things you enjoy.
That's it. I'm going to make a podcast called Trash Panda Taste. You never know what you're going to get.
That's great. I love that. Tiffany plays video games on twitch.tv/ComicPop and youtube.com @ComicPopPlays. You should check those out. All links for everything we do in the description box below this video.
Yes.
Tiffany, what are you playing this week?
Well, I think we're actually going to have to move our streams.
Yes.
I think we're going to have to do Wednesday, Thursday, because Thursday is when the new Doom game is launching. And I would like to play that with everybody.
That's right. New Doom.
But also the new Warbond lands for Helldivers 2, and I'm buying it. I'm getting a flag, and I'm going to stab it into things. Especially my friends.
Oh, yes, of course.
Accidentally.
I am so excited about that. I'm excited to see you play Doom again. That'll be fun. I'm
looking forward to it. I hope it's good. I have no idea what to expect from this.
Me either. I have no idea. We should also stream in Helldivers at some point.
I would love to do that, but I don't want to like put everybody on the spot.
No, it's true. We'll have to ask the team.
Yeah.
See what they say. All right. Well, check that out as well if you haven't already. And of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications so you know when we go live. And we'll see you guys next week with another episode of Off the Rack. Hopefully, I'm feeling better.
Yeah, you will be.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. And thank you especially to Patrick Horvath for dropping by the show and IDW for setting up the interview. And stay tuned for more. There's going to be more guest spots in the coming weeks / months on Off the Rack. We're getting such notable people as David Pepos, Marewa, Ayodele, and more. So check out.
We have such interviews to show them.
We do. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe for more and check out the old conversations we did on this channel as well, because those are still there. They're just sitting there waiting for you. So check them out. All right. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.